Welcome to Santiago, Galicia's capital city. The Old Town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site centred around the Cathedral to St James. This is also the centre of the Camino de Santiago pilgrimages, the longest of which is 800 kilometres and runs from the French border to here. We are here to experience the Dia de Santiago, a public holiday in Galicia, and a day to honour St James. Although we aren't religious, so we're not here on a Catholic pilgrimage, we really enjoy seeing cities at their full flow. We want to fully immerse ourselves in the culture and traditions of the city. So what better way to understand Santiago than on the Dia de Santiago?
Hi, we're Laura and Stu. You'll normally find us aboard our floating home Delfino, but this week we're taking a trip inland. We've been wanting to check out Santiago de Compostela for a while, and when we found out that we would be in the area for the Festival of Santiago, we jumped at the chance to experience the city at its best.
Classic boat morning this morning. We have a bus to Santiago from Muros in either 16 or an hour and 6 minutes, and we've just found a bilge for water. And it's not the bilge where water typically is, it's the bilge where I've got all of our dry food stored. So we're now cleaning off all of the dry, luckily it's all in like packages, so we're just making sure that it hasn't actually damaged anything and trying to work out where the hell this water's coming from. Do you know where the bus stop is?
I think so. It's over there somewhere. I have it in Google Maps.
Okay, right. Let's go.
Found the bus stop. Interestingly, this little thing here has a different time on it from online. See what happens. It's quite an unassuming bus stop, no signs or anything. Here we go. €5.65 per ticket. It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Pretty cheap, I think, for what's going to be almost a 2-hour bus ride. It's pretty comfortable. It's AC'd in here.
Yep.
Good views.
We have been in Santiago for approximately half an hour and we can't check into our hotel for another 90 minutes. So we figured we would have a long lunch. We've ordered some tapas, which we actually haven't had yet since being in Spain. We have got various things coming, pretty much all of which come with ham, and we'll show you what we get when they arrive. First thing that arrived is fried artichokes with jamon, which I think it's a very good ham. It looks amazing. I'm very excited about it.
Nice. Good.
The ends of the artichoke petals have gone super crispy and lovely, while the inside has remained creamy and soft, and the ham just adds a little bit of saltiness. Very, very tasty. And our final tapas is la con greos fritters. So la con greos is a very traditional Galician dish, which is pork and the turnip tops that I made into our soup the other day. And here they are fried into a fritter, which taking some... So yeah, traditional food, but fried. Gonna be great. It's like a croqueta. Because it's made with pork rather than ham, it's a bit more kind of earthy, and the turnip tops don't taste quite the same as they did in the stew. They're, again, more earthy and less kind of bright, but very tasty. Well, that was great. I'm now feeling quite sleepy. Stu had a coffee, so I am in need of siesta, and I hope we can check into our hotel and that my lovely darling husband will let me nap. Cute.
Small, but all we need.
Like the wallpaper on the stone walls.
Yeah.
So, welcome to our hotel room in Santiago. That's going to be our home for the next 2 days. We paid €170 a night for this hotel room, which is about in the middle of the range of what was available for us to book. But we booked 2 weeks ago. The city is very busy for these 2 days, so there wasn't a huge amount available, so we probably have paid slightly more than we would ordinarily do. But it's a little bit of a treat for us, a little bit of a holiday from the boat, so we're okay with it. because, as I said, we didn't have a huge amount of choice of what we booked, we have got twin beds for the next 2 nights, which I'm actually really looking forward to because I sleep much better when I'm not being bounced around by somebody behind the camera. And it lets us save room for Jesus because, you know, we are in Santiago after all. Anyway, one of my favourite things about the room is having my own bathroom, which is a massive luxury after living on a boat for a while. Have a lovely shower where we can have showers with unlimited water without having to press a button on the wall. So I am very much looking forward to taking a shower later on. And we have a hairdryer, which I really appreciate because everybody in Europe thinks that if you go outside with wet hair, you are going to catch a cold and die. So they look at you like, oh, why are you going outside with wet hair? And B, I can't really use a hairdryer on the boat because if any other appliance is plugged into the electricity at the same time, running the hairdryer will triple the power. So yeah, I appreciate that we have a hairdryer in our little bathroom.
Crucially, air conditioning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because we've suddenly reached the part of Europe where it's very, very hot.
At least for us pasty Brits.
Yeah. And apart from the bathroom and the air conditioning, my favourite part of the room is the wallpaper, beautiful stone walls, and the balcony to outside, which is very well sound insulated, as we just found out when we opened the door. Ready? So I hope you've enjoyed seeing our home for the next couple of days. I'm now going to take a nap, have a long shower, and I'll see you later.
Feeling refreshed, we rolled out of bed a couple of hours later and headed straight for the centre of the city, the cathedral. Originally built in the 12th century to honour and supposedly house the remains of St James, the cathedral has had some renovations along the way, and the current very impressive facade is from the 18th century.
It is very beautiful. It's very grand. Don't know why, but it's bigger than I thought it was going to be. The square is pretty alive with people. I think they're waiting for what's coming later today, but Laura thinks they're just hanging out here in the square. My favorite part is the well-disguised TV truck, though, which I honestly didn't notice.
St James's symbol is the scallop shell, which is all over the buildings in Santiago and marks the path along the Camino de Santiago, which ends here. The cathedral welcomes the people who complete a Camino, giving them a blessing and a certificate. There were pilgrims all over the city, and it was great to talk to some of them during our time here, to hear their stories from the trail and what led them to do it. We spent a great few hours wandering around the city, seeing the floral collages and finding music around every corner.
Wow, this city is hilly. Oh my gosh. So where we wanted to go is down there, but something's happening up there, so let's go check that out. Drawn by the sounds of clapping and cheering and
La chica de la parada.
But as entertaining as this music was, it wasn't the main attraction for this evening, and it turns out we were in entirely the wrong place for that.
We've had a spanner in the works. Apparently they no longer set off fireworks off the 12th century cathedral, which I can kind of understand why. You don't set off fireworks from that anymore. And the nearest place that we can see the fireworks is a half an hour walk away, and we have 20 minutes until the fireworks. So we're going to see if we can see anything, but chances are looking slim, and the guy in the hotel was like, ooh, I don't think you'll see anything.
He didn't really seem like he knew what was
Yeah.
going on. But to be honest, even the vibe in the city is amazing. So.
Yeah, so, but fingers crossed we get to see some fireworks.
Found the party.
Yeah, we found the party. We were both like, why is the main square so empty if they're about to set fireworks off here in like 20 minutes?
Apparently they've not been doing that for like 6 years or something.
Yeah, so
That's not said anywhere online.
So I'll see if I can find some footage of what it looked like when it was in the square, and I'll insert that, and then you can see what it looks like now.
It's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Oh my god. There are so many fun
Okay,
people
the
here.
entire population of Galicia is in this park. For our UK viewers, I guess the best way I could describe this is if bonfire night and New Year's Eve had a baby and it was the summer, and it would be this. It's mad.
It's great, I love it. I think it's awesome.
Here's where we started to get a little bit confused. I'd found a rough timetable online, but we were struggling to work out exactly where things would be. Everyone in the park was standing and looking out towards the cathedral, so we found a spot with a good view and waited with everyone else.
Nobody knows where they are. Everybody else is confused too. That's hilarious.
Everyone's staring at the cathedral. Nothing happening.
There's a look of befuddled amusement on everybody's faces. What is this? Why are they not on the cathedral?
This is officially the most European thing we've ever done.
Although pretty much everybody couldn't see the fireworks at the start, they did go on for about 20 minutes, so we all managed to move and get a better view.
We tried like 4 different spots and all of them were obscured by trees. Lesson learned, they don't do the fireworks from the cathedral anymore, they do them from other random spots. Which took us surprise, and it seems like it took everybody else in Santiago by surprise as well. I mean, the rest of the city is live and it's really quite fun, but the fireworks were a big disappointment.
As the clock hits midnight, the cathedral bells ring out to let everybody know that it's the start of the holy day. You know, in case anybody managed to miss the fireworks announcing the same thing about 20 minutes earlier. On our way to breakfast, we found the way that we wanted to take blocked by some policemen. So instead of going around the block and finding an alternate route, we decided to wait and watch to see what was happening.
Bit of a diversion on the way to breakfast.
Yeah, we got pretty lucky with that one, to be honest. I'm glad that we saw that.
So today is the day of St James, so the proper holy day, and the big thing is that Mass happens at 10:30 in the cathedral, and we just ended up seeing the procession of all of the monks and bishops and everybody and the statue of St James actually into the cathedral.
One of the cool things about many of these festas across Catholic Europe is that they'll carry the statue. And I was really hopeful that we got to see it, and that we managed. I think we got really lucky. We just went into the square just before Mass. We heard the Mass bells ringing. We figured, well, we might as well go check it out, and managed to catch a glimpse of it.
The Mass here is pretty spectacular. They have a 6-foot incense burner that they swing around in the cathedral. And while that would be cool to see and cool to get a shot of, I think we would end up taking away spots from people who actually want to be there and who value the religious side of it a lot more. So we didn't want to take up spots. Gosh, it's a big hill. So we didn't want to take up space for locals or people who actually had made a religious pilgrimage. And we didn't want to take up spots in the square. But I'm glad we got to see that nonetheless.
So we enjoyed our breakfast, thinking that would be it for the religious side of the day. But when we got back to our hotel room, we found that the Mass was being televised live, so we'd get a chance to see inside the cathedral after all.
Don't even need to go into the cathedral.
For us, the highlight of the Mass was the swinging of the Botta Fumero, which is apparently the largest incense holder in the world, weighing in at 80 kilos and 160 centimetres tall, which is only a few shorter than me. It takes 8 men to swing it around the cathedral, and despite how heavy it is, they really get it moving. As soon as the Mass finished, we were out and about for the next activity. Unlike many of the things that we saw this weekend, we were not prepared for what was about to happen.
No idea what's going on now. It's extremely jolly.
Apparently, many places around Spain have festivals that feature gigantes y cabezudos, or giants and big heads. But this was the first time that we'd come across them. They've been a tradition in Spain since at least the 13th century, and as with many other things this weekend, they paraded through the streets before stopping to put on a show for the crowd.
We keep accidentally ending up in protests and rallies and things.
As today is also Galicia Day, a public holiday to celebrate the area of Galicia, there were a few rallies and protests showing support for an independent Galicia. The largest was a march by the BNG, or Galicia National Bloc, a political party who support further devolution of political power to Galicia and protection of the Galician language, which is actually more closely related to Portuguese than Spanish.
Such a wild combination of events going on. It's nuts.
Life-size Punch and Judy figures running around,
Politics, like
demonstrations.
people drinking coffees but also beer at the same time.
Wine.
It's nuts, yeah. It's cool, but yeah, it's a bit hectic. It's a bit like there's a ton going on.
There's a lot.
As well as all of that, flower collages continue to be made and displayed, and of course, there were more processions.
So what's the plan?
So we're trying to figure out what to do for the evening. We found an agenda online and it lists this thing called Charanga TNT, which as far as we've figured out is some kind of live music, false dancing and things. We're having a bit of difficulty fitting it into our plan. The problem is that we don't know what it is. Some form of live music that's going to happen somewhere in the city, don't know where, at some point in the next 3 hours between 5 and 8 p.m.
Be honest, that's not really the problem, is it?
So
You'd be happy to wander around and look for the music
Right,
normally.
I would be. The problem is I'm really hungry because we haven't eaten much, so I really want to eat. And this charanga is a problem because it's like, do we eat now? Do we eat, it's almost 5 o'clock. Do we eat now or do we eat at 8 p.m? Or like, is it going to be really good? Are we going to miss something? Why don't they just put some more specifics on the agenda? It's so often the case with these kind of festas that you just kind of have to know what's happening. But I think that's kind of part of the joy of these things, is you just you gotta go with the flow,
Unless you're hungry.
Unless you're hungry, which I am very hungry. So I think we should go get tapas.
Okay.
We didn't find any tapas, but we did find some great pizza.
Laura. Turns out the charanga is coming to us.
And it turns out the reason that there was no location on the website was because the band move around the city, stopping wherever there was space for a crowd to gather and dance. People joined for a while and then moved on again. But overall, the crowd following the band steadily got larger and more raucous through the afternoon and into the evening.
Well, I guess we're going to follow them.
Yeah, sure.
Why not? Like us and everybody else.
How many accidental parades is this?
All right. All right, everybody, the party's coming.
I'm enjoying that we were like, how will we find it? Where is it?
I have no idea where it's going to be. It turns out it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. We've like lost and rejoined them several times now. Like stopped for a drink, got back to the hotel, always rejoined.
For some reason, we stopped filming there, but the next morning we dragged ourselves out of bed for our final breakfast in Santiago. We found a cafeteria and finally got our hands on the Santiago torte, a traditional cake made with almond flour which is eaten around the festival.
The taste of almond is much more subtle than I was expecting. It's quite sweet. It kind of reminds me of a lot of the stuff I used to have in Malta.
And we also ordered the traditional Spanish breakfast of churros accompanied by liquid chocolate.
I can't believe he offered me 1 or 2 chocolates.
Good.
Really enjoyed our time in Santiago.
Yeah, it's been great.
It really does feel like we've seen the best of the city, and it's been great to experience it in full flow.
Whenever you come to cities during these festas, you really just have to kind of go with the flow, to be honest. It's really hard to plan.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to keep an eye out and, yeah, not expect too much, not expect to be able to plan everything perfectly. So yeah, Santiago has been lovely. It's been great. The city has felt quite Spanish, but also with a very obvious kind of Celtic feel, both in the architecture, but also I think in a lot of the attitudes. You know, for one, often for these festas, they last well into the night, but here actually they've ended surprisingly early.
By surprisingly early, we mean like 3 a.m.
Or 2 a.m., yeah.
It's been super nice to see all the pilgrims in the city who've come from all over the world and has hopefully inspired us to do a Camino in the future. And speaking of the future, if you've enjoyed this video, we will be heading to another festa in a couple of weeks, so there'll be more chaotic European party content coming your way. But for now, we're heading back to Delfino. See you later.
Thanks for watching. Next time we're back on Delfino, spending a week cruising through the Spanish Ríos.